Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Nise Remissions, where we focus on disability and also the causes of disability and the myths surrounding disability in Africa. Today, I'm going to be talking about depression, which is one of the leading causes of disability worldwide. And we're beginning to see increase in incidence and also prevalence of depression in Africa. Unfortunately, people don't like to talk about it because of shame, because of ignorance, because of what people would think about them. So today I'm going to shed light on depression. First, I'm going to start with defining what depression is. And I'm also going to tell us symptoms and how we can tell that we have depression. And I'm also going to talk about the causes of depression and the treatment of depression. And most importantly, I'm going to address the myth and the stigma surrounding disability in Africa. What is depression? Depression is persistent state of feeling sad, pretty much very intense, that it affects your activity of daily living. You find out that you lose interest in things that you used to enjoy doing. You just want to be left alone. And how can you tell that you have depression? You can tell that you have depression if you have about five or more of these nine symptoms that I'm going to talk about. And not just having the symptoms, but having them so severe that it affects your activity of daily living. It makes you functionally incapacitated. Number one, if you're having sleep disturbances, if you're sleeping too much, or you're not able to sleep, that is one of the symptoms of depression. The other symptom that you can have is if you're losing interest in things that you used to enjoy doing. Maybe you used to enjoy dancing, you used to enjoy exercising, and all of a sudden you're beginning to lose interest. That is another symptom of depression. The other symptom that we can have is the feeling of guilt, feeling hopeless about situations, feeling hopeless about life in general, feeling guilty about situations. That is another symptom. The other symptom that we can have is losing, when you're losing energy. A lot of times it's happened to so many of us. You just don't even feel like getting up from your bed. You don't have the energy. It's amazing how um, the mental health captivates the entire body. That's another symptom. You just want to be left alone. You don't have energy for anything. The other symptom you can have is having problem with concentration. You're not able to concentrate. You're not able to focus. Your mind is just roving and roving about. Another symptom that you can have is appetite loss if you're not able to eat. And in some other people, which I'm going to talk about, which is the cause of atypical depression, they eat a lot. So you can eat a lot, or you find yourself eating a lot, or you're not eating. You just don't feel like eating. You know, you don't feel hungry. That's another symptom of depression. The other symptom that we call psychomotor agitation, where some people feel easily irritable, some people also have slowness of their thoughts and their thinking. Some people are just pacing up and about, non-productive. That is another symptom. The last and the ninth symptom that I'm going to talk about, which is very, very sadly, that's the way people find out that they have oh, I didn't know this person was depressed, oh my god. That's suicidality. That's when people commit suicide, when they kill themselves, or they have plans. Some people have plans, and some people, they already have plans, they already have a plan. Either they want to use a rope, they want to use a knife, they have their plans. And some people still have the intent that, okay, what if I kill myself? You know, they're thinking about it, they're having the thoughts about it. So those are the ones that, especially the ones that have plans and have guns, those are the ones that when they come to the hospital, it is an indication for us to admit such patients. because it's very concerning at that point. So if you have five or more of the symptoms and it has been ongoing for about 2 weeks, that is depression. You need to seek help. The other one that people don't talk about is dysthymia. Now, dysthymia is also having symptoms of depression, about three or more of the symptoms of depression, but it's been ongoing for about 2 years. And people have somehow found a way to cope with it. That's dysthymia for you. So there's depression, there's dysthymia. I'm also going to talk about atypical depression. That is the one that you're like, oh, thank God, my symptoms is not part of the nine. You're probably still depressed. There's atypical depression. The atypical one is part of the symptoms that you notice is you're eating a lot. You know, when you take that, it's happened to all of us, most of us. When you take that big bowl of ice cream and you shove in spoon and you just want to be with that big bowl and just gulp everything down. You don't want to talk to anybody, you just want to do your thing. That is depression. When you're sleeping a lot, that is depression. That is part of the symptom of depression. When you're extremely sensitive, somebody talks about something, you easily, you have rejection sensitivity. That's also part of depression. The ones we see in Africa with our fathers, when they're depressed, is they become extremely irritable. You can't go to them to ask questions. Oh, daddy, oh, get out of my face. Oh, you know, that could be a sign of depression. You need to seek help. So I'm going to talk about the causes of depression. What are the causes of depression? Unfortunately, in our part of the world, despite all the blessings of natural resources, of the wealth that we have, there's still a lot of poverty in the land. And that can be a source of depression, especially for a parent where you cannot provide for your family. That's depressing. And also lack of job creation. We have graduates that their parents sent to school. They have degrees. They've been roaming around the streets. They're not able to get job. Over time, they get depressed. Also, the other places where we do not notice on time that these people have depression are cases of grief. When someone loses a family member, a close relative, or a friend, over time, some people, grief is a normal process. It's normal to grieve when someone dies, but it becomes concerning when it begins to go on and on and on. At a particular time, we need to know the line between someone grieving and now past grief to depression. The other one that we do not pay attention to in Africa is a woman that just had a baby. We always consider having a baby as a joyful thing. Absolutely. It's a joyful thing, it's a thing to be thankful of. But we need to pay special attention to some women that after they have babies, they have what we call postpartum blues. And afterwards, they have postpartum depression. They are depressed. Despite the fact that they have the baby, they're not having good sleep, they're not it's a different change in their life pattern. And afterwards, some even progress to more severe cases called postpartum psychosis. So that's another thing that we need to pay attention to. Of course, diseases. It's not a good thing to have a disease and not be able to function the way you used to, either as a result of old age or as a result of birth defect, disability. Most diseases and disability comes with depression, from not being able to function well, from the stigma surrounding it. Racism comes with depression as well, where you're not accepted into a society or you feel like a second class citizen. That is a cause of depression as well. Of course, you can never forget Corona and the extensive damage that COVID virus did to the entire world. A lot of people had, I mean, almost everyone had to stay indoors except for the healthcare providers. Staying indoors, segregated from families, from friends, from social activity, that caused a lot of depression. And of course, especially those that lost loved ones. And even among the healthcare providers, going to work, having to deal with reality of seeing people die, not even guaranteed that you're going to live the next day. That brings about depression as well. And the one we don't talk about is when we relocate to outside the country. You're far away from your people, far away from your culture. You have to adapt. A lot of times we tend to act that we're strong. We are survivors, especially when we come from places like Africa to the Western world. But because you're no longer connected, or you face the harsh reality, a lot of us come from Africa, and majority of people come in here with a degree, but you find yourself doing something to survive, something you don't enjoy, something you don't like. That could bring about depression. And even also people in the Western world as well, find yourself doing a profession that you do not enjoy. You keep asking yourself, am I going to do this for the rest of my entire life? That could bring about depression as well. In addition to that, conflict, domestic violence, rape, and also women that are trying to conceive. In Africa, they call them all kinds of names: barren, infertile. That is depressing on its own. So this, amongst others, are causes of depression, and I'm just going to dive in straight into how to treat depression. And depressions can be treated in several forms. You have the non-medical, non-medication forms of dealing with depression, whereby you have support groups where you come together, you tell your stories. I believe that telling your story begins the healing point. And also we have psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. The churches are doing a lot of, and the religious leaders, they're doing great job having support groups as well, and also dealing with spiritual healing, because they believe that when you have the internal peace of mind, that reflects in the outside as well. Unfortunately, some people are not able to cope well with depression. They resort to things like alcohol, to using of illicit recreational drugs, which actually worsen things. The other ways to take care of depression is when the non-medication aspect is failed, is using medications, which we call the SSRIs, the SNRIs as well. Um, these are medications that target neurotransmitters in the brain, because you have the neurotransmitters, typically the what we call the monoamines, that send signals in the brain, and that is what we target when we're treating depression with medications. Unfortunately, for those that are refractory or they are not responsive to medication, we also have what we call ECT, which is just the short form of electroconvulsive therapy, whereby you have electric impulses being passed um, to help to treat depression as well. So I'm going to dive straight up to the myths surrounding depression in Africa. And again, these are things that are very, very concerning and needs to be addressed in Africa as a result of ignorance, as a result of the stigma surrounding depression. And that's why people don't want to talk about it, because they're being labeled, they're being called names. Oh, they are crazy people or they are mad, and even the neuropsychiatry. And I specifically want to point this out. Please, please, and please stop stigmatizing neuropsychiatry hospitals and clinics so people can go there. It's extremely very shameful that people are not able to seek help because neuropsychiatry hospitals and clinics are places that they're ashamed to go into, because people in the society call places like that names. They call Yaba left. It's neuropsychiatry hospital Yaba. It is not Yaba left. Stop the stigma. I feel so ashamed seeing videos, even seeing movies, music shots calling places like that, comedy skits, calling places like that Yaba left. Please stop it. We need people to assess and also to be able to go into places like this to seek help without feeling ashamed. And being depressed is not a spiritual attack. We need to get this right. It is not because someone in your village is doing something to you. No, it is what it is. The healing process starts from you acknowledging that you have depression. And it's depression goes all spectrum. It's not just because of poverty. People that are well to do are depressed. You have so much money in the entire world and you ask the question, why is this person depressed? So you're not alone if you're depressed. Go out there and seek help. Alcohol is not going to help. Illicit drugs is not going to help you. Look for a support group and be a part of them. Go and see your general practitioner. Get an appointment with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist. Come online and talk about your story. Talk about the situation that led to 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 your depression. Address it. It's okay to be vulnerable. Your story could save someone tomorrow. And also, I want to appeal to the government as well to make funding available to these hospitals, public health, preventive medicine to help to address these problems, and also telepsychiatry. Like I said, a lot of people are so depressed they can't even get up their bed. Let's have telepsychiatry available that people can get on their phones, and just at a click on the button, they're able to talk to someone. Don't let us wait till people die, till people commit suicide. Please, I beg of us, let's change the story. Let's change the narrative about depression. Let's come together as we always do in Africa and support ourselves through this process. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate you listening today, and I hope you spread this message. Once again, I want to thank one of our sponsors, Sabini Homes, which is a forefront property company in Nigeria owned by diasporans. So for diasporans that you need a property company that you can trust, please patronize Sabini Homes. They are tested and they are trusted. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you once again. Bye.